Day 1106 of this war, and overnight another Russian missile destroys a civilian target, killing 4. This was a hotel in Kryvyi Rih, which also happens to be President Zelensky's hometown. If Russia feels emboldened to send a personal calling card, it's not because of any change in the theatre of war, but because of transformation on the stage in Washington. Here in Brussels, this is how Ukraine and Europe now feel. Trump has yanked the security rug from under their feet. Time to fill the vacuum with solidarity and money. 800 billion euros for rearmament, even bigger than the COVID emergency fund. Donald Trump may disdain or even despise the EU, but he's made it more resolved than ever. They may not much like him in the White House, but here he's the returning hero with an invitation to the club.
Dear Volodymyr, we are with you since day one. We'll continue with you now, and most important, in the future as a member state of the European Union. Then, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Europe faces a clear and present danger, and therefore Europe has to be able to protect itself, to defend itself, as we have to put Ukraine in a position to protect itself and to push for a lasting and just peace.
The EU talking bombs, not trade. Thanks to Trump and Vance, today feels almost like an out-of-body experience. And the red carpet, so often a parade of minor differences, now a plank of defiance. Prime Minister, is America now abandoning Europe?
The Americans are, there are some insecurity now about how the US is going to act.
That's putting it mildly, isn't it?
Yes, in the future, and therefore, for me, the most important thing is to do what is needed in Europe, and to rearm our continent is by far the most important thing.
That's why I'm heading to the meeting today, to see how many European countries are ready to be united.
But can Europe ever, the EU ever replace NATO if NATO is weakened by an American absence?
I don't think that's a question, but we need a long-term vision for Europe, and Europe should be strong enough.
Prime Minister, what happened to your leg? What happened to your leg, Prime Minister?
Skiing with grandsons.
Was it Donald Trump? No. Is America abandoning Europe, Prime Minister?
No.
Are you sure?
I am sure.
None of the suits seem to object to Zelensky's dress code, and he even manages a handshake with the Kremlin's closest friend here, Viktor Orban of Hungary. Perhaps the biggest challenge for Europe is found outside in the sunshine, persuading the people that war is interested in them, even if they're not interested in war. Well, joining me now from Kyiv is the former Ukrainian Prime Minister, Arseniy Yatsenyuk, who's chairman of the Kyiv Security Forum. Arseniy Yatsenyuk, it's good to have you back on the programme. And, of course, this is not a laughing matter. I just wondered if I could start with the latest challenging news for Ukraine, which broke yesterday, that the Americans have cut off all access to their intelligence for your people on the battlefield. How serious is that?
Well, you indicated that we are right now in the new world order. Let me put it this way. We are in the new world disorder. In terms of the news that the U.S. intelligence and the U.S. security has decided to cut off the delivery of the data from the U.S. intelligence, it's a disaster, period, okay? Because I won't say that we are practically blind, but not far from that. The thing is that we heavily rely on the US intelligence, and starting with an early warning system, just to explain to your viewers what this is really about. When Russians launch a ballistic missile, we got the data from our American allies that they launched the missile against Ukraine, or Iranian-made drone is on its way to Ukraine. And this gives us a ground and actually a chance to hit these kind of targets. Now we are out of this vital information.
So it could lose lives, plenty of lives in Ukraine.
So this would lead to dreadful implications. And the cost of this U.S. decision is enormous one. And we can't count. It is not the cost in some kind of dollars or another value except human beings' lives. So we are paying with Ukrainian blood.
What about the Starlink access? Because from Elon Musk, that is incredibly important to your troops on the battlefield for your drones. There have also been reports that he might pull the plug on Starlink. Again, how devastating would that be for the conduct of the war?
On the one hand, it's a commercial deal, and our Polish friends, and as you asked, Prime Minister Tusk, what's up with his leg, so I hope he is okay, but this is the Polish government who covers this kind of expenditures. So one can say it's a commercial deal, but in current circumstances, God knows what's going to happen. So I strongly believe that the Starlink is to stick to its commercial obligations. Otherwise, this will disrupt an entire Ukrainian communication system in the Ukrainian military.
There are reports today that some senior officials from the Trump administration have been in Kyiv talking to opposition figures who might want to vote, to stand against President Zelenskyy, who might want to defeat him in the next elections. Have you heard these reports, and how significant are they? How threatening are they to him?
Yeah, I've heard these reports, kind of political rumors, and Politico published the article that says that a number of Ukrainian politicians who are in the political opposition to President Zelenskyy, that they want to actually snap elections, and then they want to run against President Zelenskyy. In my humble opinion, it's a kind of fantasy world. In order to get elections, first, we need to get a peace deal and to lift the martial law, because under the Ukrainian constitution, there is no chance to hold free and fair elections. And let me elaborate on this.
Yeah.
Even in case if we have some kind of legal framework how to hold these kind of elections, there is no possibility to have these elections under the barrage and salvo of Russian missiles and Iranian-made drones and North Korean ballistic missiles. So I don't buy these stories. And the House actually passed a special resolution saying that Ukraine is to have fresh elections only after the peace deal is to be hammered out.
All right, got to leave it there. Yevgeny Yatsenyuk, thank you very much indeed.